Here's something I like about Scissor 7. I like this because I remember imagining this very specific way to save someone as a kid. It's a very arbitrary like, so this is my disclaimer. A lot of how I feel about Scissor 7 is personal. This is going to be a self-indulgent video essay. And there will be spoilers for Season 3. Also, to avoid being listed for kids...
Oh, fuck.
I first learnt of Scissor 7 when I saw Katsuka tweet its opening for the first season. I didn't really like the art style or character design at the time, so I wasn't interested. But then I saw that the studio was based in China. So I made a note to give it a go if it became accessible to me. And it did. I watched the show during a time where my job was unbearable. And I needed something not intense to eat dinner with at the end of the day. And the Netflix summaries made it seem that way. Some of the episodes were less than 20 minutes and looked lighthearted. I was quickly blown away by how touching most of them were. Scissor 7 punched my heart and gave me nostalgia. The character designs, which at first didn't interest me, started to remind me of how I would doodle on my own desk back at school. The art direction is inconsistent sometimes, and characters go off model. It's all loosely drawn. It's silly, fun, and adds to the humor. But it also feels sincere. The script reflects that too. It breaks fourth walls.
你都猜得到，观众就不用看了。对了，你应该是这个动画唯一一个会穿成这样的刺客吧？
Doesn't take itself too seriously.
我今日就要帶佢走。
我看看誰敢攔我。
哎呀
And plays with language.
Oh, Miss May, this rose is for you.
Predominantly Mandarin, but throws in a couple English expressions.
What the f...
And knows when to use Cantonese to add character depth
話俾所有嘅刺客知。
and break tension.
難道我的身世跟刺客有關？當然冇啦。
While the gags have me grinning like an idiot, I do recognize harmful elements. Scissor 7 jokes about non-consensual kisses, undesired flirting, though it should be noted that the context for why 13 won't reciprocate or even respond to 7's advances without violence is more than just to fulfill the tsundere trope. Being an effeminate man, upskirts, this is a child. If they could rewrite this all out, great. Still, let me tell you why this adds to the nostalgia for me. These jokes are pretty dated, and they're present in the many old Hong Kong comedies I grew up with. To get into the wrongs of this, I will need to dedicate a whole other video just for it. So for now, I will say there are very wholesome moments in the show despite all that. Whether or not it's enough to overcome the sourness of those bits is up to you. If the moments aren't innocent, they are at least very human. In episode 4, 7 stands up for an underwear collector. It definitely could have been less like this.
哦，纯情女随身款哦，好喜欢哦。
But it was a light introduction to 7's moral compass.
真的好恶心，好猥琐啊！但是，这又有什么问题啊？很多人都会有一些不可告人的癖好的啦。他又没有去偷，又没有去抢，又没有伤害到其他人，他喜欢干什么关你了事啊？
The show seems to find better footing in delivering morals as it goes on. In episode 5, 7 is hired to kill an old lady. When he finds out that the client is his son, it really affects him.
我真是想不通啊。
The outro visually demonstrating the distance between Mimo and her son, and how she finds purpose again taking care of his son, makes me think of the many real families currently experiencing this issue. I wonder if it was a commentary on filial piety, given the importance of it in Asian culture. Regardless, it lingered on me the same way it did for 7. I love how the show has you taking in these emotions at the same time that 7 does. You stop and think when 7 does. You change your mind and develop character as he does. and you tear up when you realize just how important these moments can be to a cold assassin. A cold assassin who really doesn't want to be that way anymore. The morals are a bit on the nose, but I think it's still executed pretty gently.
哈，就这样走吗？
我们之间的恩怨结束了。
Most characters that I thought were for background comedic relief recurred in both little and great ways.
我现在就是你的雨伞。
The sense of community as everyone came together at the end of Season 1, catalyzing Seven's new journey, was incredibly sweet. I felt like I was among them here. And the outro for Season 2, that takes you on a quiet ride around the island, further emphasized how welcome the show makes you feel. The watercolor style, cool blues, reminded me of my little hometown back in West Malaysia. It just evokes a storybook with a lot of heart. Life is simple here. The show knows how to invite you into its world. So very quickly, you really understand why the Prince of Stan
会被淘汰。为什么他们这么开心？殿下，我有点羡慕他们。
大包。
不知道什么时候开始，我竟然不想复仇了，甚至觉得这样的生活也挺开心的。可能我真是一只没用的飞机。
And 7.
以前好像比现在瘦一点，帅一点。
All yearn for its warmth.
但是我还是更喜欢现在的生活。大宝，有一句话我一直都很想跟你说的，谢谢你救了我。
And now I will criticize the show I said I loved. I mentioned that the show plays with language. And this is a show you need to watch in the original language, by the way, because normally I'm cool with alternatives as long as they sound good.
我至少想为祢豆子做些什么。可是大力强大，没办法反抗。祢豆子，加油，祢豆子！
刚才那些根本不是12个月，你连这个都不知道。我当然知道，这个就是红头的。为了我是12个月，是12个月的人去抗制了。
李教，你的我打不赢啊！你也赶紧收辛苦，这不要以为是人移动我的小手手，是长手留时针，过一个看灯也行的。我介绍我一下我来明明来明明我只想给他们用音乐团队，因为练习过兵器都叫我教，我比他们教我还要是看喜欢看不起啊！希望大家你别喝了。你们我操我的后面老舅啊！是我这个把你这个对着老师在我的背口把高门出来了。哎呀，你这注意讲多点的慢去，你刚刚跑了上位，那好啊，搞定会。你就说了大话，我跟你讲起码是有人家，哎呀，你讲多点的。
Mr. Michael, grab on! We're not giving up!
You brothers are really something else.
I'm trying to save your life, asshole!
Fuck him up!
Fight on.
I bought that shake weight you see on TV. 10 minutes a day, every day.
Within him is a philosopher's stone powered by many thousands of people. You could say he's used its energy to claim the powers of God for himself. Now will you please put on a fucking shirt?
But language itself plays a big narrative role in the show's plot. It's almost a character itself. And the English dub butchers all of that. Not only do some of the jokes work better,
我的真名叫做汪峰。你叫汪峰？如果有一天我老无所依，如果有一天我老无所依，请把我留在你的。汪星人都知道，这里只有我一个叫汪峰的。
but they also deliver tone better.
诶，大白天干嘛开灯啊？
Ronny especially ruins this for me. I appreciate the speech impediment he gives to Seven to try and emphasize what a chill dude he is, but he should have changed it up for Seven's former self. Ronny does nothing except make Seven more serious.
Emotion weakens you. Take the dagger and become a true shadow killer.
And personally, I barely hear the difference.
Why can't I let go of the past and start a brand new life? Being a cursed shadow killer was always our fate. There's nothing you can do to change that now.
Ronny also said that he did this for money.
What made you accept this offer and what made you want to be the role of Seven?
Really the money, really for money. I mean, if you pay me money, I'll basically do anything. Much like the character in the anime.
Which is valid, but he's also shown to have cared enough to suggest creative translation changes.
There were times where he, would suggest, hey, this is actually saying this in Chinese. Would you like to change the translation since it's kind of off? Or maybe this can capture more of the humor?
So why wasn't the importance and mystery of the language shift between Mandarin and Cantonese considered here?
你唔係一直都喺度揾緊我咩？揾返我，你就可以成為天下第一刺客。但是我已經不想做刺客了。你冇得揀，因為我就係你。難道我就不可以放下過去的事情，重新開始新的生活嗎？
All that being said, I love this show, and I haven't even talked about the soundtrack and how the world expands further in Season 3. So, if you want something light and rich, give Scissor 7 a go. If you grew up watching Stephen Chow's films, you'll definitely appreciate it. And if you're a Malaysian Chinese banana like me, wanting to bridge some cultural gap in your life, I think you can enjoy this.